Hi and good afternoon, and welcome to Thfc Till I Die, your home of Tottenham past, present, and future, and of course, a very sad, angry, peed off, frustrated, deluded Irish fan today. And Philip's wearing red. That's just done it for me today. Now that's it. Now Philip's gone back to the 1890s, what Tottenham used to wear back there for 6 years. Mr. Brady, explain yourself, because I'm telling you, I can't. Look,
I'm apologies for this. Now, I never ever wear red, but it's just this morning. I just had no other choice, and so I just had to wear this. And that is not the Arsenal badge, by the way. That is something else. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it is the Arsenal badge.
It will not happen again.
No, he rarely is an Arsenal fan. Nobody knows this, but he pretends to be his first fan.
I love Declan Rice. I love Declan Rice.
I know you do. See, I
like Rice, all right. I don't like Declan.
There's nothing wrong with Declan. Declan's a nice fella.
No, I like Rice. I don't like Declan.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Declan. He's our postman. Well, used to be our postman. It's now a lady now. I don't know what her name is, but it ain't Declan. But anyway, welcome to the show. Yeah, it's been one of those days, Philip, where you don't want to be on the computer. You want to be somewhere in the seaside, running into the pool or the sea, really. How hot is it up in your neck of the woods? Because it's roasting here in Riverchapel.
25 degrees.
Yeah, it's 26 here.
It was 27 at one stage earlier. I was in the car, so yeah, it's lovely. It's dead. There's no wind. It's complete dead heat. You know? But it's going to get cooler over the weekend, so make the most of it.
I bet you any money when we go to the game Sunday, it's going to piss with rain.
No, I don't think so, but it's not going to be as hot, which is probably just as well, seeing the amount of stairs you have to climb.
Are you calling me fat, Philip, that I won't be able to make up stairs?
You haven't seen this.
Come on now.
You know?
Yeah. Never mind. I've got 2 games on. Well, we've got 2 games left of our qualifying group.
We might as well have no games left, but anyway.
Well, look, we are going to get into that. Of course, everyone, welcome. Nobody's in the chat yet because everyone's too hot even to put in a message in the chat. So, hello to all people that are watching. Let us know if you are.
Invisible men watching.
I tell you what it is, Philip. I'm being honest with you now. There's a few channels on now, and I've snuck around having a look during the intro. They're all in there. They know we're coming on, and I'm going to work with these members of ours. They know they know they have to know where their bread is buttered, and it's on here.
Yeah. Anyway, we carry on.
Anyway, Philip, last night, of course, Ireland, we lost 2-0 to France. Look, 2 different opinions on this, and look, we're going to.
Sorry about this.
That's Stephen Kenny ringing Philip to see has he still got a job. Well, we're going to go through very quickly to start off with is the match days and what's coming up over the weekend. Of course, all the home nations. Of course, we lost to France last night, 2-0. Not a really surprise. A pathetic performance. Absolutely no fight, no nothing, no absolutely just nothing at all. Slovenia, Northern Ireland. Then, of course, tonight Cyprus are playing Scotland, who have absolutely started brilliantly in their group. 4 out of 4 for Scotland. Of course, then Saturday, Ukraine are playing England in Poland. For you England viewers, we do have the details for that match and where you can watch it and everything up to then. Of course, Sunday, we're at home to the Holland, the Republic of Ireland against the Dutch side. I don't think we're going to win that either. And then Kazakhstan are playing Northern Ireland. That is the hotbed of European football at the moment, Kazakhstan. We've got also on Monday, we've got Latvia versus Wales. And then on Tuesday, a derby, Scotland versus England at Hampden Park. So that should be a cracker of a game. So anyway, we've got, see who's just come in. We've got Carl Simpson. Good afternoon, gents. Good afternoon, Carl. Carl, let me know if you want to pop on with us. If you give me, put the link into the chat and you can pop on and give us your thoughts on England coming up with their game tomorrow. A few matches last night that I've put in here. Of course, Romero last night playing for Argentina. And we will go over what Messi called Romero, probably the best defender in the world at the moment. Of course, they kicked off their World Cup their World Cup campaign with a 1-0 win over Ecuador last night. So that was a good win for Argentina. Of course, world champions as well. And now you have to qualify for the World Cup as world champions, where in the past you got in automatically with the host nation. Now you have to qualify. So, and then, of course, Denmark, last night beating San Marino 4-0. Højbjerg getting the first goal on the 26th minute. Really set Denmark on the way. San Marino really not the best team in European football, to be fair. We just got Gary Becks come in. Big up, Gary. Says, hello, hi, Gary. Hope you're doing well. He says, hi, Philip. Yeah, Philip will be back in a minute. And we've got Carl. Unfortunately, I'm listening from the office today. Well, if you want to pop on the podcast tonight, Carl, let me know. And we'll get you in the podcast later, the Cockle Clock podcast, of course. It is on tonight at 9, where we're going to do Scott Munn and other bits and pieces as well. What else have we got? We have also, for me, this is the result of the night last night. Iran beating Bulgaria. Now, to many people, Bulgaria, for many people, thinking, well, that's not a big result. But Bulgaria were third place in the 1994 World Cup. And of course, Iran is Iran, and they beat them last night, and it was a result that really shocked me. That did, it really did. We also last night, of course, Wales June 0-0 with Sunny's South Korea. Wales last night. 4 Tottenham players were playing for Wales last night, so a good result all around for some of our Spurs players. We've got Brian Maguire. What is the latest with Scott Munn? The latest is he's starting. We're going to go more in depth of it tonight at 9 o'clock on the podcast. So Brian, we will get back to. But the latest I've got on Ali Gold is it reveals that when he's already going to start his job now as Tottenham executive, and his first official task is important. And the task very quickly, Brian, is to get a new director of football in. Now, at the moment, Paratici has been helping since he's banned from FIFA as a consultant. But that we will go into more depth tonight, Brian. Philip, I was just going through some of the scores there. Look, for Wales. For me, that's for me the result of the round for me of the matches last night.
Well, I mean, it's a bit irrelevant for Bulgaria because Iran are never going to be a competitive team. I know it's a good result for Iran, all right, but Bulgaria aren't exactly pulling up any trees at the minute either. So,
well, no. Look, it's Bulgaria were, of course, third in the World Cup in 1994, Philip.
But that's 1994, but that's not.
Yeah, but the point I'm making, Philip, is Bulgaria have been there and thereabouts.
Iran played at a couple of World Cups as well.
They played in one. Didn't they beat Scotland in 78?
They played in one more recently than that, I think.
Yeah.
I remember we beat them in 2002 to get to the Japan World Cup. Remember we beat them in
I remember that, yeah. The mighty Iran. Brian says, we've got Greg Selnet. Good afternoon, everyone, and a happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Brian says, I will watch that tonight. Yeah, this shows a little bit about the European football and the qualifiers and what's going to happen, and just go over the Ireland game. And it was just something we thought we'd do different because of the thing. Gary says, how do I listen to the pod live? Is it just YouTube and then pod it after? No, we go live with our podcast, don't we, Philip? Every Friday.
YouTube,
it's on YouTube, and then straight after, it's then uploaded onto Spotify. We will put in the link tonight for you as well for how to get into our Spotify on there. There's already 3 up there already. The 4th one will go up tonight. And also, as from Monday, we will be going live on our new Facebook page, and we will be going live on our new Twitter page as well. So all things, and also we're going live on Full-Time Sports Network as from tomorrow, Philip, because tomorrow it's our first joint venture. We're doing the watch along to the rugby, aren't we? To the Rugby World Cup.
Ireland versus Romania.
Yeah, so you can get all your latest of the Rugby World Cup here. Now, Philip, what Ireland, the ratings. Now, this was the team that started against France last night. Now, I'll let you go through. Look, I've got my own views on this, Philip, but I'll let you go. I think you're going to be a bit more lenient than I
am. Bazuma, you know, I wasn't that impressed with him last night. I know he made one good save, but I thought some of his decision making was a little bit suspect. He came for balls he shouldn't have done and didn't come for ones he should have. So I get the feeling maybe playing in the championship has kind of dented his confidence a little bit, if anything else. So I'll just give him a 6. Collins, Brown. But I have to say, okay, I know Dembele gave Stevens a bit of a roasting on the other side, but I thought Brown did pretty well on Mbappe. Mbappe really, I mean, you see the time Mbappe did go through, clean through. I know he was offside, but he didn't score. He missed. So he's not the absolute all-conquering hero he thinks he is. So I give Brown a 7. Collins again didn't do a lot wrong, to be honest with you. You know, they defended well against a very potent French attack. 7 as well. Duffy, a bit rusty, hasn't played that much football. 6. Egan, same, 6. And Stevens a 5 because he did get roasted a bit. Malumbi and Cullen in the middle, give them 5 each. They didn't really control the midfield. France controlled that midfield completely. Bene, I'll give him an 8. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for Ireland. He nearly scored and looked like giving him a lot of trouble with his pace. Ida and Knight, I just give them a 6. They were supporting players for him. And so, frustratingly enough, Ireland will probably play worse than that and beat lesser teams. But obviously against France, you're not going to win playing, if you know where I'm coming from. France are a much better team in the world. They're a much better team than we're used to playing. So it was a good workout, but I still think I'm fearing for the result on Sunday because I think Holland are going to give us a severe test.
Yeah. Look, for me, Philip, I'll give the whole team a 7. Sorry, a 6. The whole team is, apart from Obi-Wan, I'll give him 7 because I thought he was the only bright spark last night. Look, you are right. Brown did play well against Mbappe and did probably have him in his pocket for the time. I agree with you in that, Philip. But there was, look, for me, Philip, there was no urgency. Everyone's going to say, yeah, but you're playing France. You could, if this was Tottenham and we played like we played last night, Philip, and we say we lost to Colchester,
which we have done.
We wouldn't accept that. Or if we lost, say, to Manchester City, but it's only Manchester City. They beat everyone. You go on that pitch, you play for your club or country, Philip, and you would leave 130% on the field. We went 2-0 down, and it was like, well, we're going to look. It looked like the players all high-fiving each other before the match, and we're going to lose this anyway. And it really doesn't.
I agree with you, Dermot. I think after France got the second goal, we had probably the best spell of the match. We put them under a bit of pressure, and that header from Bene took a brilliant save for the goalkeeper. You know, so we didn't lie down after the second goal. We tried, but France was just too good for us. That's basically it. Far too good.
Do you think though, Philip? Do you think that what got me? We had to go 2-0 down for us to do anything.
Well, you see, at 1-0 down, right? You're not going to open up the doors and go gung ho with five forwards at 1-0 down because you've always got a chance doing it. And remember in the first leg in Dublin, they were 1-0 up. In the last 10 minutes, we absolutely battered them because we were still in the game at that stage. So basically, the second goal killed it. And there's no way that Irish team was going to score twice or 3 times against France. And we nearly got one, in all fairness to us. But the players are just not good enough to compete at that level against France. That's the bottom line.
And that, for me, comes from the manager. That, for me, stems from there.
But he doesn't make the footballers. He can only pick what's in front of him. He picked the best what was available. He didn't have Ferguson, our best striker. He didn't have Seamus Coleman, and he didn't have Matt Doherty. Those three players could have made a big difference last night.
By the way, you've said it, Philip, and these are your words. Ferguson didn't impress you when you've watched him against.
No, he didn't, but that doesn't mean he wasn't going to. He's coming off the back of a hat trick. If he's not on buzzing for last night, but he's never buzzing again. It's unfortunate he was injured.
Look,
you can't compare French match 6 months ago, with one where he's after coming off a hat trick against Newcastle. He would have been buzzing to get playing last night, and probably would have maybe scored that chance that O'Bene didn't score from.
For me, Philip, they look like last night, right? Watching Ireland, I'm always excited to watch our team play. Don't get me wrong. I love my country, love the team, always want us to win. But I won't stand for players not putting pride by pulling on the green jersey. You got,
give me an example of why what player didn't show pride last night. I couldn't see any not showing pride last night. They just weren't good enough, Dermot. That's the bottom line. They just weren't good enough. Pride doesn't come into it in a case like that.
Well, it does. You may not be good enough, but they started playing right when they went 2-0 down. You should be doing that from minute 1, not minute 70. And that stems from the manager, from getting them pumped up in the dressing room. You are right. It's the players on the pitch that play. We get that. But before the match or during the few days he has them and training and setting up tactics and setting up teams, that he should be getting them pumped up. Like, you look at the teams of the past of a Roy Keane or the Mick McCarthy era and the Martin O'Neill era. Right, we weren't the best technically football, but you were guaranteed them players were pumped up and proud to go out and put in a shift. This is all we asked for.
Most of the players in the Mick McCarthy era and the Jack Charlton era and the Martin O'Neill era were far better players than we have at the moment. That's the reason those players went out and looked better, because they were better players. We just don't have the players at the moment. It's the worst Irish team I can remember in 30 years. And that's not down to the manager. That's down to a lot of factors. That's down to teams not letting Irish lads come through into the Premiership. How many of that team have played in the Premiership last night? 2 or 3 of them. John Egan's in it. Bazuma was in it. Ferguson would have been in it. You've got James McLean playing in Division 2. You've got a lot of other players playing in Division 1 and Championship. You can't expect to compete against a team like France when you're not up to the squad, up to the standard that they are. They're all playing for the top leagues. So it's very hard to. It's like Spurs playing Colchester at home, right? And Colchester, we beat them 2-0, right? I guarantee you, the Colchester lads wouldn't be saying we didn't play with any heart. They were saying we played with massive heart against a better team. And I think the Ireland team did not disgrace themselves last night. And I couldn't see any of them that didn't try. The fact they didn't succeed is another matter altogether. They just didn't. They were trying, but against a technically superior team, it was men against the boys.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing about that, Philip. What I'm trying to point is, I'm just very disillusioned with our national team at the moment.
Well, and you will continue to be so until we get better players. Never mind the manager.
Surely, if you had right, Philip, let's put it this way: if you had a manager that had a bit about him, a bit of charisma about him, a bit like Ange, right? You look at Conte in Tottenham last season. The players weren't playing for him. Everyone was depressed. Tottenham were technically, not going to win the Premier League. We know that. We're going to win a cup. We can only win 1 cup now. All qualify for the Champions League. That's sort of the aim every season. But with Ange coming in, the feel-good factor, the players are enjoying playing for him. Even if you had a manager come into us, and look, it's another subject we are going to go on to in a minute, but if you had a manager there in Ireland that had a bit about him, a bit of charisma, a bit of that players could buy into, you would see players raising 10% of their game, 5%, because they're playing for the manager. Stephen Kenny doesn't inspire me to pick an apple from an apple tree. He wants me to go to sleep. And when I see him, when he talks, he won't inspire Bungle to go and see Zippy. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't inspire me. He doesn't inspire the players, Philip. One of the main jobs of the manager, even if you have a crap team or a brilliant team, the manager's job is to inspire you, is to give you confidence, is to It is to make you feel that you're a better player than what you are. Stephen Kenny doesn't do that. And we need a manager to go into that dressing room and tell them, okay, you're not playing in the Premier League. You're playing in League One, League Two, but you're better than them players out there. And you maybe say playing Germany. You're better than what you think you are. And that's what we need. Stephen Kenny doesn't inspire people, Philip. And that's
Stephen Kenny does not pull on an Irish shirt and play, right? He cannot make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Not even Pochettino or even Pep Guardiola could make that Irish team on a level with France last night. It's just not going to happen until we get the better players. Once we get the better players in, you'll find that quality will improve, no matter who the manager is, Stephen Kenny or whoever. We just do not have the player pool at the moment, and that is the bottom line. You can blame the manager all you like, but the bottom line is the players are just not good enough, and there's nothing any manager can do about that. If you haven't got the skill levels that you need to have to play international football, he's not going to improve you. He might make you feel better about yourself. He might inspire you to go out and try your best. That's as much as he can do. You know?
That's all I ask for. I know
he does that. He does that, and they're doing their best, but their best isn't good enough.
I don't think he does, Philip. I don't think he does. And you may really have different opinions.
He's such an aggressive in that. I'm not going to bother giving you a team talk because I couldn't give a shit. That's what you're saying, because that's what you sound like.
Yeah, look, we're going through the chat. I love these chats for you, by the way, Philip, because they're all good fun.
I'm being realistic to him. You keep blaming Stephen Kenny for everything. I'm not. I'm blaming the fact that he hasn't got the player pool to work with. That's his biggest problem.
Yeah, but
you can put Poch in charge of that. You can put Pochettino or Postecoglou or anybody in charge of that team, and they would struggle.
Look, right? I'm not disagreeing. Right, let's get this point clear. I'm not disagreeing with you for having got the play pool. I get that. I get this is probably the worst Irish talented we've had in a generation. I get that. What I'm saying is, what would it give me a bit more if we had a manager that was a bit more about him, a bit more that would inspire you. Yeah, but players work on confidence.
You don't know what goes on behind the scenes in the Irish. The Irish players could love Stephen Kenny for what he does for them. As far as I can gather, there's no whispering about having a coup against him or not doing what Spurs did with Conte last season. You don't hear that from the Irish camp. He may not be good enough, right? But he's certainly a player or a manager that the players seem to get on with. Now, I know a lot of the fans don't like him, and probably with reason, because he's never managed at a high level before. And that's probably again going against him. I mean, managing Dunfermline and Longford Town does not exactly inspire you to become an international manager.
That doesn't bother me, Philip. What bothers me is he should have went at the end of the World Cup qualifiers.
Well, he didn't.
He should have went then.
We all know the reason why. We cannot afford a new manager because of the antics of John Delaney and the FAI.
I know that.
We're stuck with him until the end. Now, there's only 2 matches to go in the qualifying campaign, or 2 or 3, whatever it is, right? That will be him. He'll be gone. He will be gone, I guarantee that. But who do we get in this place? That's the big question. You know who I'd like to see coming in? I'd like to see Robbie Keane coming in. Or Roy Keane. I want
to see Roy Keane coming in. That was
Roy Keane will never come back in to the FAI. Never.
No. But look, it's just, look, I get your point, Philip. I agree with you with the talent pool. I just want a manager that would, even if we're losing, that will inspire you. Like, I just don't know.
I'd rather be. It doesn't matter a thing to me if we have a manager that's jumping up and down on the touchline.
Go on, take it, Philip. So I've got to go through the chat anyway. Yeah, I'll take it out there for a minute. We've got Gary Beck says, I'm making enemies in the YouTube community because I'm calling out. I think I'm calling out what I think are clickbait headers fueled. Look, I think you're right. I think you're right, Gary. I think there is a few channels that look, maybe we've been guilty of it ourselves, that you put a channel, you get a news and you think it's going to happen, so you bring it out there to you. But we always try with our headlines, with our when we do put a show up, that what you're seeing to bring you in is 100% truth. It's not just there for numbers. We've never done that, and we never will do that. But I think fair play to you for calling it out what it is. So fair play to you, Gary. Absolutely fair play to you. We've got Dave Janola, did you hear Big Aussie urges Tottenham as he wants Johan Cruyff as director of football to take over from Paratici? Yeah, right. I haven't read any of that anywhere. DJ Samuel says the Irish team is missing the leader on the football pitch, and that is actually true. I think we are. We're missing that Roy Keane, that sort of Mick McCarthy of the 90s, Roy Keane in the early 2000s, or a player that will drag you in, that will get you going, that drag you along if you're playing badly. And look, I do agree with Philip, the pool isn't the greatest in the world. I want a manager that will inspire me, win, lose, or draw. And I don't think Stephen Kenny never was, never will be that man. But we can't afford any of the manager because of John Delaney, which we will go on to in a minute. Endo Stevens says it's we've got Gary Beck's Ireland will always struggle because the talent pool is so small. Ferguson is world class, or going to be, but his 10 teammates are championship level. Faroe Islands players have pride too, but quality. Look, we were very. I think with us, I grew up in a generation where we had a really good national side under Jack Charlton, Mick McCarthy, Martin O'Neill, especially under Jack Charlton. And we were, I think, spoiled, for what we went through and what we did under his leadership, and especially under Mick McCarthy and Martin O'Neill and Trapattoni, who qualified us for major tournaments. I just want my side to go out and give it all, win, lose, or draw. Look, you can, and also a manager that will go on the touchline instead of standing there like a garden gnome, doing nothing, just doing the odd pointing or the odd arm waving. Go out there and shout at the players. Walk up and down that touchline. Do you know, the most Stephen Kenny did last night was actually move his arm. And actually, at one point, I thought he was a statue till he started moving his arm. It looked like a teapot at one point. The half the team are less crap than France. Yeah, it is. We've got Carl Simpson saying it's because the Irish League has more semi-professionals than full semi-professional teams and players than full time. They don't get the link to going through the levels in better leagues. Philip, it is true that our league isn't the greatest in the world, the Irish League. Now, to be fair,
that's for sure.
Now it has improved, and I think this year's the best league it's been in a long while.
Yeah, now the attendances are great as well. You know, it's very popular, but it's the quality of players coming through. That's how many League of Ireland players were on the team last night? None.
I think there was a few in the squad.
There might have been, but none made the ground, none made the starting level. And that rarely happens, you know.
You know, for me, Philip, look, look. You look at the Premier League, bankrolled by Sky Sports. You look at other leagues, bankrolled by whatever. We're not bankrolled by anyone because of what happened with John Delaney and the FAI. And I was just saying there when you were off there, Philip, maybe we've been spoiled with the generation of teams we've had over the years, especially under Jack Charlton.
Yeah. We expect the same again. We're not getting it.
And once we get to that high standard of qualifying for major tournaments, we feel we should be qualifying for major tournaments. Scotland have qualified. Look at the start. Scotland have the same pool as us, Philip. Right? Scotland only have 2 teams in Scotland, Celtic and Rangers.
Right? But John, you're wrong there, though. They have a lot of players playing in other leagues. Look at the likes of Scotland. John McGinn playing for Villa. You've got a lot of players playing out of Scotland.
Yeah, but I'm just look. If you do it, I don't know what the population of Scotland is to the population of Ireland is. I don't know how much different it is. I'm just more talking about the way Scotland FA set up to bring in their younger players through. Now, I know we talked about this before, and I do get that it takes a long time for a generation to catch up itself. But do you feel that we should start looking at other European countries, how to set up our league and how to bring in these better players, that players from the League of Ireland get to a standard that they can play for the national side, that we don't have to look to lower leagues, that we're producing our own better players?
If you look at the Scottish League, right, the Scottish Premiership, I know 2 teams only ever win it. That's fair enough. But if you look at the rest of the teams, Hibernian, ground holes 25,000-30,000. Oh, they've got a decent set of grounds throughout the Premiership. The maximum capacity for a League of Ireland ground 7,000.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure is totally wrong. right?
Yeah.
Never mind the playing structure. The infrastructure is totally
Yeah,
wrong.
it is.
And
And I
it was
agree with you on
allowed to
that.
neglect for years. Allowed
Yeah.
to neglect. Now there's a bit of work being done on it. Too little, too soon. We will never ever get to the Scottish model. I don't think. Not in 20 years. It's just not going to happen because we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have like Scotland have many 1, 2, 3, 3 or 4 leagues. We've got 2 leagues.
Yeah.
2 leagues. Right
Now,
after that, it's 1 league.
if
So
we,
I don't think the likes of Shamrock Rovers, the Shamrock Rovers, for example, right, get into the whatever league they were in, right. For them to get even as far as the group stages, they did it once. That was a major achievement, right? The Scottish teams slightly better. No, some of them didn't. I know what do you call him? Hibernian. Was it Hibernian? Villa hammered there the other day, right? Yeah. European Scottish teams, apart from Celtic and Rangers, don't really do very well. But the Scottish infrastructure is good. The grounds hold more. They can bring in players from the lower leagues in other countries who are probably a better standard than the ones we're getting. We're getting guys at 30, 35 years of age at the end of their career. A lot of them will come in and play for Bohemians or Shamrock Rovers or whatever. And this is not going to happen because of that John Delaney, right?
Yeah.
The money is just not there unless the government puts some money into it. But the government's not going to sponsor football.
Don't
and
get
then
me started.
GA and rugby kicking up hell about it.
Don't get me started. The government would rather put in money into a corrupt TV organization than put it into where it should be.
They would. They probably would. So what's happening in Irish football is going to be generic. It's going to take years.
Yeah,
it's going to take years for the quality to come through. So if we reach another major tournament in the next 10 years, I will be absolutely amazed.
Well, we are because we're in the bid with England, Scotland, and Wales.
No, what I mean is, for Ireland, the team itself, to qualify for a major tournament on its own bat, not just as a host nation. To qualify, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just look for me, Philip. It's a very frustrating. I think I'm more frustrated than anything else. I think you can understand that of where we are as a football nation, because once we do qualify for a tournament is lifted by our fans over there. You know that as well as I do.
Oh, sure. I know. I've been away. I know what they're like. I mean, just European football is poorer without the Irish fans. The Irish fans light up any European competition that they're in, be it for club or country or whatever, because they go out there and they don't make trouble. They really are very, very law-abiding. They've good humor. They're great fun. They'll drink the place dry. Fair enough. That's good for the local economies. And I've been, as I said to you before, I've been on these trips, and they're absolutely unbelievably funny. Some of the stuff that goes on, but it's all good humored. It's really all good humored, and it would be badly missed. Badly missed.
What do you honestly expect if Ireland's 11 players turn up and the English best turn up, Ireland get battered versus Wales? It's a contest. It's a contest. Sad but true.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with Philip, but I'm just frustrated. I think that's what it is, and I think Philip gets that. I am and Stephen Kenny, I've never wanted him to be Ireland manager to begin with. I thought it was a wrong decision. I thought it was the wrong time to put him in. He should have left Mick McCarthy in to do the playoffs and then start off fresh. Gary Beck says, Philip is spot on. You can't make a skill shirt out of crap. It matters not who coaches, it's because there are levels. Carl Simpson says, you have no money. That is why Kenny is there. And that's the point.
He's a yellow pack manager. Remember the old yellow pack you used to get in Tesco and Winsworth? Yeah.
Matthew says, today's Portugal's match, right? Yeah, I think it is. Question here from Gary Becks. Derm, would you take Conte as Irish boss? And if yes, what do you think would change?
I'd be interested to hear this answer.
I say yeah, I would. I think you would see more passion on the touchline.
Yeah,
I saw the one, Philip. I want to see a manager on the touchline. Points last night, I've said it before. I thought Kenny was a statue. He's the new garden gnome for me. He's the garden gnome. At one point, I thought he was a teapot because all he did was easy move his arm up and down. I thought he was doing the teapot song. I would I actually would take Conte, and I tell you what would change. I think I think he would set us up defensively better. We wouldn't be making play, and maybe we were playing more counter-attacking football, which is probably suits our style better than the way Kenny's trying to play at the moment. I think it'd be more of an updated version of Jack Charlton's putting them under pressure. I'm not saying the long ball, Philip, but do you know what I mean? More press and more defensively minded. I think we'd be hard to break down. I think we're too easy to break down at the moment. If you've got teams like Qatar nearly beating us, do you know what I mean? Did Qatar beat us at Dublin? I think they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
a friendly match,
I think he would bring a more tightness, and I make his defensive better. I think we press more, and I think he'd be up and down that touchline like a fucking rat up a drain pipe. But he wouldn't give the players any excuses. A bit like a Roy Keane, wouldn't give them any excuses. And I think that's what we need, Philip. Would you take Conte, Philip, as Irish boss? And if yes, what would you think he would change?
I wouldn't take him if he had services for nothing. I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't have anywhere near the place. Not that he would anyway, because if he thought he was doing Spurs a favour, the managers, what would he think about the Irish team? That would be way beneath him. No, I don't think so. One, it's never going to happen. But B, no, for the way that he, it's his way or the highway. It's his intransigence. I don't think it would suit the Irish game. I know we had Trapattoni. He was a different kettle of fish. He was a little bit flexible. No, I certainly wouldn't want to see Antonio Conte anywhere near, or Jose Mourinho, or any of them, really. I think what we need an Irishman as a manager. An Irishman understands the Irish.
Yeah, but
an Italian doesn't understand the Irish.
No.
Really.
Can I just make a point there? Jack Charlton didn't understand the Irish, and look what he did with us.
Yeah, but Jack Charlton became an honorary Irishman because Jack Charlton was more Irish than the rest of us after a while.
Point I'm making,
that's 25 years ago. That's a long time ago. Things have changed.
But the point I'm making is when he took over, he didn't understand us, and we didn't understand him. And I'm
talking about it. I know Trapattoni needed an interpreter. Do you think Jack Charlton needed one as well? I think we need an Irish manager and also not only an Irish manager. Unlike Stephen Kenny, we need somebody that's actually played for the Irish team.
Yeah,
that knows the setup, that knows the psyche, and knows what's needed. And for my case, if Robbie Keane does a good job where he is in Maccabi in Tel Aviv or wherever he is, or Haifa, whichever one he's at, I think in a couple of years' time or next year, Robbie Keane should be looked at because I think he's got a decent chance of being a good manager.
Wasn't he part of Stephen Kenny's backups group?
Was it Stephen Kenny or was it?
It was Robbie.
Was it
Mick McCarthy?
Mick McCarthy's. I'm not quite sure.
Might be Mick McCarthy. Carl Simpson says the Irish Premier League sponsored by THSF till I die. I can see it now.
Yeah. Give him 20p and they want the change back.
Yeah. Dave Jones says, don't believe me then. I have no reason not. I wasn't saying you lied about it. It's when you said Johan, I know he passed away. It's not Johan, it's Geordie. Sorry, I read it wrong, so it's my fault. Geordie Cruyff, Johan passed away, I think. And I didn't say it was true. It's been reported. I meant that big.
Is that Geordie Cruyff to come as director of football?
Yeah.
That I could live with. I would be very, very happy with that. Because anything with Cruyff in the name is smacks to me of attacking football. And I'd love to see Cruyff. He played for Man United, didn't he, Geordie Cruyff? Yeah.
He did. Gary says, truth is, and you won't like it, but to see a successful Irish team, you need to look at the heritage players. Nan was Irish, so picked, etc. 90% of McCarthy's team choose Ireland over England because and that is so true though, Philip. You look at the Jack Charlton, Mick McCarthy sides, they were half of them were their grandfather was Irish or their nana was Irish or the mother was Irish, but they had the choice to pick. And it was Jack Charlton, charisma, his way that he could draw you in. To come and play for me. Don't play for England. Come and play for me. We're going on an adventure.
Yeah.
And I feel if you had a manager like that, and I think the law has changed now by UEFA, But if we had a manager like that and he was looking for players, Philip, you would find better players will come if they like the manager who's in charge, has a bit
Just
about
remember,
them.
around that time with Jack Charlton, we had the Ray Houghtons, we had the players that the John Aldridges that possibly wouldn't. The England were good at that time as well, so that's why they were never going to get playing for England or Scotland or whatever, you know. But this is where the old adage FAI came in: find another Irishman, and that's what Jack Charlton got that going. The problem is now we don't have that quality, and that's where we're getting the same type of players, but not the quality of the players. Look at Jack Grealish, for example. You know, if we didn't hold on to him, the only way he qualified for Ireland was his two grandparents were Irish.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a slight hold on him, if you like. I'm not surprised he went to England.
Yeah, look. Even my family, right? My mother was from Northern Ireland. My father was from Mayo. My uncle was born in Scotland, and my nana was from Wales. So I could play for all England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Ireland, and I would have picked Ireland because that's my country. And I feel if Jack Grealish had a manager there, or Declan Rice had a manager there, they think, do you know what, we can get behind this guy. Do you think they would have stayed, or do you think they still went and played for England?
No, because they could see that the talent pool was not good when they made that decision a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. We were no better off then than we are now. So no, if they'd have been around in Jack Charlton's time, then yes, they probably would have. But it's not at the moment. I'm not a bit surprised that they've. The only thing I'm glad about is that we've Evan Ferguson cannot transfer to England. That's gone. No. Forget about it. He's ours. The only good thing
Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter. Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. Yeah, again, I still prefer an Irishman coming in, but I'm sure he's Irish blood somewhere on the line.
Ryan Mason, says Carl Simpson.
No. I think leave him where he is.
And then Matthew says Mourinho's Irish manager makes sense, and the government and the FA would be in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll leave Mourinho where he is.
Yeah, leave him here. But Philip, look, we're going to go on. Look, somebody said it in no, not that one. Here we go.
We have discussed that one, all right.
Yeah. Now, we all love Roy Keane. I do. You do. He's brilliant on Sky Sports. You never know what he's going to say next, Philip, to be fair. And should Kenny bring in Roy Keane to a system? Now, we know he might be gone at the end of this qualifying campaign, unless that the FAI are totally dumb and stupid. And so I'll tell you what, we'll give you another go because we've got no money to get somebody else in. So if they do keep him on, Philip, should Roy Keane come into a system?
He should, but he won't.
No.
That's the sad thing about it. Roy Keane is probably the greatest footballer we produced, Irish footballers produced in many years.
Yeah.
And he should be heavily involved with the Irish team. But because of Saipan with Mick McCarthy back in 2002, there's always a stigma that Roy Keane will never ever work for the FAI again, which is a pity because you talk about passion and I tell you, if I was in the dressing room and Roy Keane was giving me a lecture, I'd do what he told me.
Yeah.
Double quick. So he would be a great addition, but I'm afraid no. It's the politics behind it all are too much too much adverse to allow that to happen. Then again, if Kenny, I'd love to see him apply for the job as manager with Kenny Diddley and see what the reaction is.
Do you feel, Philip, that Alex Ferguson sort of robbed off from Roy Keane a bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Roy Keane is kind of a mirror image of Ferguson, the way things are going, and he's a tough man, tough lad. And he's his own man. He doesn't suffer fools gladly, as we know, as you've seen on TV. So he'd be good. He'd be a great man for the job.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Man United haven't got him in there in some capacity, some way.
Something? I read a thing this evening, and it shocked me about things going on at Manchester United. They are in worse shape than we thought, and I'll discuss it later on when I've dug up
on the podcast.
It's a list of things that have gone wrong at Manchester United, and it's frightening. I know we're all football fans and we all support our own club, but I would not like to be a Manchester United fan at the moment, the way things are going in that club. So
well, that'll be on later. Look, very quickly, we'll talk about the Messi thing later as well, Philip, as well, because I think that is worth, I think, a
Yeah.
good conversation on the podcast tonight. Now, the last bit: who will win Euro 2024? Now, Euro 2024 will take place in Germany. Host nations automatically qualify for the summer tournament. As Germany will host the 2024 European Championships, the men's side qualify automatically for the tournament. Dyer, Shift have no qualifiers to partake in, so instead fill in their fixture list with friendlies. As manager Hans Fleck tries to improve the squad's dire mood, Germany went out of the group stages of the 2022 World Cup, which me and Philip were shocked over, having also done the same in 2018 when they were defending champions. Despite being joint record hold Euro winners with 3 alongside Spain, Germany last reached the competition's final in 2008 and were eliminated by England in the last 16 in 2021. How can teams qualify for Euro 24? Nations will go through qualifying for the remaining 23 spots at Euro 2024 alongside Germany. It's 10 group winners, and each group runners-up qualify directly for the tournament. And the 3 remaining places are decided by playoffs. Playoff spots are given to teams who excelled in the 2022-2023 Nations League but could not qualify for Euro 2024 by winning their group or coming second. And then, of course, Ukraine, Philip, are playing England tomorrow night. England have won all 4 of their qualifiers so far. Ukraine are second in Group C with 6 points from 3 games. Match will be played in Poland. Location courses in Poland. If you are wanting to watch the England game tomorrow, it's 5 o'clock kickoff UK, 12 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Pacific time. A Bulgarian referee and a Bulgarian VAR. That should be interesting, Philip, how Bulgaria sort of do all that.
Yeah.
The last head-to-heads, England, of course, have won 3 times against Ukraine, 2 draws. The last 5 games, England have won 4 on the bounce. Ukraine have won the last 2. And of course, if you are watching it on telly, the current streams for you can watch it is Channel 4 in the United Kingdom, Fox Sports 2 in America, foxsports.com and Fox Sports app, VIX, and in Canada, it is on DAZN. So there you go. If you want to watch the England game tomorrow night, there is all your places and all the bits and pieces. Philip, my pick for the European Championships is actually either going to be Holland or Italy. I think Germany have a chance and Spain as well. So they're my sort of 4 teams. Who do you think will qualify? Look, I don't think England are good enough. I don't think England will win it because of one man, because of their manager.
So you don't like managers, do you? You're not into managers, are you? Homegrown managers.
Well, right. Let me ask you a question then, Philip. Right. Do you feel England could have won the European Championships or got into a World Cup final if it was a different manager managing England than Gareth Southgate?
No, they would have got into a World Cup final if Harry Kane had scored that penalty. Simple as that. England were good enough to get into that final. They were better than France, but France got lucky. I'm picking England to win the Euros because they will win the tournament soon. That's my pick.
Do you really think so?
Harry Kane or James Maddison's playing for them. I do. I reckon. I mean, I know being Irish is sticking your throat to say England are a good team, but England seem to always get good draws in these competitions.
Yeah,
favourable draws. They come through with a breeze without even breaking sweat, and I think they will do well. That the hunger is there now. They've come so close to winning 2 tournaments. They lost the one on penalties to Italy. Do you remember the Euro, the last one? And now they've gone so close in the World Cup. So they will be hungry to win. And I think they will do it. If they don't do it, I can see it would be France or possibly Germany. But
look, France for me, they're a side that is. But look, for me, Philip, look, for me, Simon Jordan, who's your greatest. I know you love watching Simon Jordan on TalkSport, Philip. I mean, you were pictures of him on your wall and everything. He said he's very much against Gareth Southgate, saying he's not the man to take England across that finish line because in the final against Italy, he made a couple of changes where England didn't have to make. And then in the semi-final against Croatia, again, he made a couple of blunders. Do you feel it doesn't matter if you're England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. do you think it should be a man from that country should manage their country, or do you feel if you're good enough, you should go and get? I mean, there's talk of Pep Guardiola taking over as England
Yeah.
manager. So does a manager have to be from that country, Philip, or do you think the best manager that their national side? Sorry for the question. I'm trying to shorten these questions. If you're good enough, should you be manager of a country? If you get me, sorry.
Like up to 20 years ago, it was always a manager from their own country, the manager team.
Yeah.
Always. That's all changed since the 90s, early 90s, maybe even before it. Yeah, I mean, if you're good enough to manage your country, you should be from that country. But that's not to say that I can see England, if Pep Guardiola decides he's had enough at Manchester City, I can see England snapping him up big time next time the job comes up for because okay, who else is there? All the candidates maybe are in game for the employment at the minute. Eddie Howe will be a good manager for England, I think. Who else have we got? Not a huge pool that I would jump at, but I'm one of the few. I think Southgate's done a good job. I think he's done a good job.
For me, he's taken to a level, Philip, but I just feel he's been tactically out-tacticked, if you know what I mean.
If you're saying if he's as good as if you're saying is he as good as Guardiola at tactics? No, nobody's as good as Guardiola. No. So if England were to get Guardiola, they would go places, definitely. Whether that will happen, who knows?
I'd be very scared of England if Guardiola went to England as manager. I really would be. Genuinely, I'd be thinking there's a team that probably would dominate world and European football for a few years.
Yeah.
Quick, get him to Ireland. We've got Carl Simpson says, Dermot, you leave our Southgate alone. He's our tool. You get back to being the head of the Stephen Kenny fan club. Oh dear. Gary Beck said England will win Euros because of Rice, Kane, Madison, Cornwell, Grealish, Walker. Ning could go on. Yeah, I could go on. Yeah.
They have good players. They have good players.
They have. Matthew, I like France. They're good. I mean, we said it last night, Philip. For me, France could win Euro 2024.
Yeah, they could very easily. Yeah.
Gary says Jordan is quality. He is. I love what Simon Jordan has to say. He's not afraid to ask the difficult questions. So, and then we've got Gary Becks. Next England manager, Pochettino. And all that young talent, marriage made in heaven. Now,
he might be out of a job by Christmas, so maybe.
Now, could you imagine, Philip, an Argentinian managing England?
He wouldn't be allowed back in the country.
No.
In Argentina, that is.
Yeah. Seriously, at the time when Jack Charlton took over, we never thought an Englishman would take over our national side, to be fair, Philip, at the time.
That's true. But there's history between England and Argentina have history. I mean, not only the hand of God that you said it wasn't the hand of God. Back in 1966, when Alf Ramsey called the Argentinian team animals at Wembley, you know, they hate each other. So I'd say if Pochettino, he'd have to change his name to Morris Poch or something. He couldn't be keeping his Argentinian name. He wouldn't be allowed back in the country again.
Look, I want to end up on this. I want to end on this one, Philip. And are Ireland now a second-rate football nation?
Yes.
I'm going to have to say, we are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We are. Yeah. We're in the also-rans.
Yeah.
We're in the also-rans department.
I mean, if Qatar can come over and beat us in Dublin, Qatar. For me, Philip, look. I'm so glad when Tottenham comes around because the Ireland national team, we don't have to bother with it because it's such. I don't know. It's like watching chalk and cheese, Tottenham and Ireland.
Yeah, well, last season it was like watching chalk and chalk.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit better. Why are we going Sunday, Philip? To be fair, this is a genuine question.
I honestly don't know, but sure, you know, we're just lambs to the slaughter, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
I think we're going for the crack. I mean, the Irish, the atmosphere of the Irish games is always good. I mean, the fans are always up for it, regardless who we're playing, you know. And one thing you'll find in an Ireland match, no matter how badly we get beat, you'll never hear the team booed off the pitch.
No. It was like the last Norway game, the people were doing paper airplanes from the upper tier. It's really funny.
Yeah.
You're just going to see me die. walking up to the seat. That's what you're going. You're going to video it as
I'm
well.
just making sure I captured it all on camera.
Yeah. Well, what's your last words, Dermot? You're gonna have the channel, Philip.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You only need oxygen for the last 10 minutes.
Thanks. Look, Philip, look, I'm glad this show's out of the way. I love doing shows, but this one I felt was a bit of a damp squib because it's not Tottenham related. It's not.
Yeah, we'll get back onto that soon enough.
Yeah, we will. We got a few more qualities here. Yeah, Ireland are a second-rate football nation now. Probably that's the conversation we probably need with Dave and Ollie on a proper. Well, that actually it's a podcast in itself, Philip. A proper podcast, and Dave and that. We'll get some strong views on that one. We've got Carl saying, no, not an Argentinian for F's sake. Jesus. Poch with Mr. Sketches leading the line. Yes, I'm still better. Yeah. We've got Gary says Poch could change his name to Moch. Yeah. Neil Shafton saying sorry, but no, he hasn't won much with sacked teams like PSG. What makes you think he's good in the manager for a national team? I don't think he is. Jack Charlton, what did he win? And look what he achieved with us, Philip. You look at
Jack Charlton won cups and titles with Leeds, you know.
Yeah, but not as a manager. I meant as a manager. Gareth Southgate. He came through. He did. Ireland did what was Gareth Southgate brought him through the under-21 system. He was the under-21 manager. We did the same thing with Stephen Kenny. It worked with England. Ireland looked over. Oh, we can do that. It hasn't worked.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Neil Shafton, sorry, but he hasn't won much. Oh yeah, we talked that. Gary Becks, what the F did Southgate win? Silly remark. He's one sod all. You are going because you're supporting your country, because you're true supporters through thick and thin. And that's it, isn't it, Philip?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it is. It's we love our country. And we're
going the amount of Irish fans in the ground last night in Paris. There's thousands of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going because I'm meeting up with friends of mine, you, Dave, and that, but we're going also because we love our country. You cut me or Philip, and Irish colours will come out of us. Philip knows I've got Republican blood in my family. Probably so is Philip as well. I say one of Philip's ancestors. They were at the 1916 rising there in the GPO, telling people what to do. My mate Mick Collins, my cousin was there. He won a war of independence. We know how to win wars, but we don't know how to win football matches. Oh dear. Maybe that's what they should do, Philip, for every game. Listen to a Michael Collins speech before every match.
Maybe not. Then you'd probably be accused of being on the pro-treaty side, and no, that might divide the team even further. No. That thing still runs very slow in some families,
It does, Philip. It really does.
So
it does. It does. Maybe they should do a Dev speech one game and a Michael Collins speech the other. Just to balance it out a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I know which side I'd listen to more.
Same here. Yeah, same here. And we do agree on that as well. If I tell you, if you and me were around in 1916, Philip, we would have got independence a lot quicker if it was left to us. We would have done it within 6 months. Yeah, would have sent Dave over to England to sort out talks with them. Dave would have come back, right, Philip and Dermot, this is what we've got. Philip said, right, let's go and do something about this then. And we're done within 6 months. There'd be statues of you in Dublin and everything, Philip. There really would be. Yeah, right. You'll have the blue plaque on your Leitrim house. Philip Brady, King of Ireland. We've got Neil Shafton. Gary, what has England team won? One thing more than we have. Yeah. Matthew, Maradona is a fraud in my eyes. Messi is way better than him.
I rate Messi more than Maradona. Always have. I agree with you there, Matthew.
I'm sorry.
I'm not saying Maradona's a fraud now, but I'm just saying I regard Messi as a better player.
I tell you one thing very quickly. I look, for me, Messi and Maradona are on the same level for me. Southgate did get a great pizza advert. That is all. Tequila. Do you have green blood, Dermo? Yeah, I do. Ireland should go for Nagelsmann. That's actually a good shout, Philip.
Yeah, that's a way above our pay grade, really.
You don't have to offer them money, Philip. You
What
offer
else
them
can you
free
offer them?
Guinness, free Irish stew,
Free apartment in the Guinness storehouse.
Yeah, you also offer them a free Thin Lizzy album, greatest hits, the Dubliners' greatest hits, and a free Dublin tour. There you go. What manager would not take
turn
that?
it down if you offer them the Wolf Tones greatest hits? That's for sure.
I'd throw that in just for good measure. Tequila, ever seen an old TV show called V?
No.
That rings a bell for me. That rings a bell for me. And Matthew, R9 or Cristiano Ronaldo? The original R9 for me.
Original Ronaldo,
yeah, all day long. Well, Mr. Brady.
That's it. Listen,
I'm going to go and find some whiskey from my daddy as I'm listening. Thin Lizzy's in the background doing whiskey in the jar. There's a question for you, Philip, before we go. Version. Thin Lizzy's version or the Dubliners version?
Whiskey in the jar.
Yeah.
Oh, Thin Lizzy all day long.
Yeah. That's it. We've got Colin Turner, Maradona for me. I don't believe Messi could have gone to Napoli and do what he did. That is a very good point.
Good point, yeah.
Neil Shafton, my friend was...
Naples was the right place for Maradona to go to at the time because there was a very active trade in white powder there that he seemed to take quite a bit of.
Trust you to always take conversations down to gutter level. Trust you.
I was in Naples once. I've seen it happen. I know what goes on there.
Yeah. Look, what happens in Naples, Philip, stays in Naples.
Stays in Naples, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My friend was great friends with Phil Lynott. He shot the cover of their live album. Wow.
Oh, nice one. Yeah. Phil Lynott was a genius. Really was. Went far too soon.
He did. I love his song. With Ireland, it's not about finding a great manager. It's about finding a better talent. Yeah, exactly. Matthew saying Cillian Murphy for Ireland manager.
Wouldn't mess with him anyway, that's for sure.
No. The Metallica version, that's not a bad version as well.
I haven't heard that one, actually. I haven't heard that.
It's very good. I actually played to you tonight for the podcast.
There's a very good. There's a lovely statue of Phil Lynott in Harry Street outside the Brussels Inn in Dublin.
Yeah, there is. We've got the Italian manager who's just left Napoli.
Oh, no.
I say yeah to him. We've got Chalky Davis. Look him up.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. We've got Matthew, 850 goals for Ronaldo. By the way, he is human for FF. Sorry, the original Ronaldo for us. And then Neil Shafton, Dr. Feelgood, also
Dr.
a great
Feelgood.
band. Yeah.
The original Dr. Feelgood, Wilco Johnson. What a band. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We've got one more in just before we finish up. And I think this is the one to finish it off, Philip. But Georgie Best, greatest player I've seen play. Greavesy, greatest goal scorer. And Jennings, the greatest keeper I know I'm by. Could you imagine an Ireland side, Philip, right, with Pat Jennings, George Best, Paul McGrath, John Aldrich, Ray Houghton, Mick McCarthy. Can you imagine all them in one Ireland team?
They have that. They've got the rugby team amalgamated. It should be the same with the soccer, but it never will be.
It won't be because of the Civil War.
And because of the politics.
Yeah.
I said to you yesterday, Dermot, in Northern Ireland, most Catholic soccer fans support the Republic of Ireland, not their own team, because of the way that team is set up.
It is also, Philip, the way that they've tried. Look, I think it might be interesting for people. Let us know in the comments or email us or whatever if you want us to do a podcast on why the Irish soccer team are not joined like the Irish rugby team. It is an interesting story. There was a documentary on RTE2 about it a while ago, Philip, about why the two football authorities can't work together. And it does go all the way back to just before the Civil War. It's politics. And the cricket team, all Ireland. The rugby team, all Ireland. I just don't know why we can't have a one Ireland football team.
So I'll go back to October 1993.
Yeah,
we had to play a match in Windsor Park against Northern Ireland to qualify for the '94 World Cup. The team didn't even stay in a hotel in Belfast.
No,
they flew up before the match and flew home straight after it. And that should never have to happen because for safety reasons. They thought they'd be attacked.
Gary says, love you both, but a United Ireland team is Sweden at the very best.
Well, that's true. That's another point, Gary, right. The Northern Ireland squad at the minute is very bereft of decent players as well.
Yeah.
The same problem as we have. Yeah. So two did not make two wrong there.
Yeah. You there, Philip? Philip is frozen. He's frozen.
Anyway.
Hang on. I'm just... Yeah, I am, yeah. Right, okay. Look, for me, just very quickly, Philip, on the other point, I think there should be a United Ireland for the other thing. And you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I think that... It won't happen in our lifetime.
It will happen in our lifetime, Philip. I guarantee it. No. 10 to 15
I wish I could agree with you, but I can't. I wish I could agree, but I don't think so. It'll never happen because there are too many people against it. Too many people against it.
I don't think there would be, Philip. I don't think there would be. But look, that's for another show and a different subject completely. But I do agree with them. We would be Sweden at the best. I agree. We've got Geordie says, hi, Guy, what's up? Bye, we're just finishing now, but we're back on at 9 o'clock, Geordie, so come and meet us for the podcast. Phil just did a McConnell impression.
Oh, no, it must have been the internet that froze, Neil. It wasn't me standing looking at the screen, not knowing where it was. Not like
Gary
McConnell.
says, it is what it is. We can't change birthplace or loyalty, or we'll be in Man City in Brazil. Yeah. We'll be all Man City. That's so true. Dermot, if you was a player, which position would you play? I'd be number 10. I think Philip would. Where would you play, Philip, if you were a player?
I'd play where I actually used to play. I'd be a fullback. I was left back. I'm left-footed, so I played left back. Yeah.
You'd be a bit like Stephen Carr.
I played for Birmingham Schools.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Back in the day, that wasn't today or yesterday. Yeah, I did.
But anyway, we are going to leave it there. Philip, we're on tonight, aren't we, at 9 o'clock with the podcast? Yeah. What we're going to talk about tonight, the podcast, a bit about
Spurs, a bit about what Maradona, what Messi said about one of our players, and maybe we might even mention the rugby.
And also, we're going to talk about the Saudi Pro League and their transfer finishing yesterday. What does that mean for the transfer windows going forward? So we've got a few subjects to go through. Thank you again for coming on, Philip, and torturing you for an hour and 12 minutes about Ireland. I do apologise. Normal business will be resumed tonight at 9 o'clock, but we are going to play out with our intro we did last night. Whatever you do, look after yourself, take care, love each other. Come on, Spurs and Ireland. In Stephen Kelly, we do not really trust.